Okay, welcome back to the regular council meeting. The date is Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. Time is 7:01. With that, we'll call the meeting to order. There is the closed portion of the meeting was put into recess until later, and at this time there's nothing to report out. Item number 4, adoption of the agenda. Any items or motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second. Councilor Abbott, any amendments, changes, additions?
I handed you a piece of paper with your reading.
Yes, you did. Okay, the first item, as suggested by Mr. Blackwell, it's the statement is regarding the reconsideration of the subdivision servicing bylaw. Council, before we proceed with our agenda, I'd like to address the matter of the draft subdivision servicing bylaw, which council considered at the third reading at our last meeting and which was defeated. As mayor, I wish to exercise my authority under section 131 of the community charter, which expressly provides the mayor with the power to return a question for the council's consideration or reconsideration. In accordance with this statutory authority, I am formally requesting that council reconsider the motion to defeat the bylaw at the third reading and that the council vote again on the matter. This bylaw is critical to the effective administration of the subdivision and land development within our municipality. Our current subdivision bylaw, which dates to 1985, is no longer sufficient to meet the modern engineering standards, regulatory requirements, or best practices in municipal servicing. It does not reflect the contemporary expectations for life, safety, environmental protection, infrastructure performance, asset management, or alignment with the provincial legislation and professional standards. Adopting an updated subdivision servicing bylaw is essential to ensuring that the land development in the Lions Bay occurs responsibly, consistently, and in a manner that protects the community's long-term interest. Without a modern subdivision servicing bylaw, both the village and applicants face uncertainty, operational inefficiency, and elevated legal and financial exposure. For these reasons, and in the interest of a sound corporate administration, clarity, and the public good, I am requesting that council reconsider its decision and that the question of the third reading of the subdivision servicing bylaw be returned to the floor for a vote under section 9.2 of the council agenda. So I'd like to add that to the agenda.
As item 9.2, what are we just read?
Yeah, hang on. 9.2 would be under unfinished business. Now we can vote on that now, or we can introduce the others and then come back and vote one at a time. Councilor McLaughlin,
In favor?
okay. I'll call the question. All in favor for adding this to the agenda?
Sorry.
I need a mover and a
No,
seconder.
second.
Okay. Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, seconded by Councilor Abbott. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. So we'll add that as 9.2. Okay, any other items to be added?
Okay, so there was 2 items here that I sent earlier today. Crystal printed for us to add on table. I only got yesterday, last night. But they actually are aligned, well, they are part of the earlier report that I did on the CAC meeting. And there's a statement about this in the minutes. So we could just accept these and I can discuss it there. We don't need to add another agenda item, as long as I don't forget to discuss it.
10.3.2.
Yeah.
10.3.2.
10.3.2. And then the other one is, and we could do this in the EPC section as well, but there's a resolution we need to pass in the EPC to appoint, the recommendation from the committee was to appoint Councillor McLaughlin as the second EPC council member to replace Mr. Reuter. So we can craft that resolution in that point at that time, or I can just add that resolution now.
Which section would that come under?
So we have some minutes from the EPC meeting. What section is that in?
If I may, should be under 10.3.
3.3.
sorry, 10 oh, I'm looking. Sorry, I'm looking at close. Oh,
10.2.1.1. Climate Action Committee.
10.2.1.1, no.
That's the Climate Action Committee.
Emergency Planning Committee, isn't it? In here?
Oh, yes.
Emergency Planning Committee
EPC,
is
yeah, there you go. 10.2.4. Yeah, so we can do it under 10.2.4 with those minutes on. Or I can just blurt it out now and we can add it to as a resolution.
If I may.
yeah,
I think council has a latitude to consider it under 10.2.4. You could also consider it under resolutions. You have options, in other words. I think there's nothing wrong with keeping it under 10.2.4. You really choose to.
It's fine, right, leave it as
okay,
is.
we'll put it under 10.2.4. I have a on table recommendation, which is, I'll hand it out to the.
I'll stress it out.
Okay, this is to clarify and formalize the governance principle of council meetings, and which should always supersede advisory committee meetings. So this may go well under committees, under 10.2 10.2. And it's to clarify and formalize the governance principles that these committees serve under, and to reaffirm the advisory bodies serve as support to council and not as a parallel or independent decision-making structure. In other words, a parallel governing body. And there is a couple motions. One that would be council affirm that council meetings and council business take precedent over the advisory committee meetings and activities at all times, and that this principle be incorporated into the advisory committee terms of reference and meeting schedule practices, ensuring that advisory bodies operate in a supportive role under the direction of council. So I'd like to put that on table. And as I say, I think 10.2 would be the place to put that prior to the committees.
So moved.
Okay, seconded?
10.2.1 and everything moves down.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we have mover, Councillor Broughton, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. All in favor?
Yep, I.
All in favor? Okay, opposed? Motion carried. Okay. With that, we'll move to adopt the agenda with the amendments. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item is the public participation. We'll open it up to the gallery. Anyone online, Crystal, wishes to participate?
No one online.
Okay, with that, no delegations. We'll move to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve October 17, 2025 minutes? Okay, moved by Councillor Abbott, seconded Councillor Broughton. Any amendments, changes?
Question.
Yeah,
Okay, all in favor?
no, sorry, I'm gonna say, yeah, I thought you were gonna ask a question. I
Okay,
said I have one. Page 7, the adjournment, time is not listed. And,
May I make a suggestion?
mhm,
Suggestion to save time, council meetings, council tends to take a very, very long time managing its minutes. May I suggest that if you identify, what do you call it, administrative errors, I can't,
typo.
typos, etc. I would just forward those to myself and to Ms. Kenna, and we'll take care of that. That may shave off a whole bunch of time at the council table. If that's okay with council, does that sound all right?
That's good. Okay, is there any substantive changes in the minutes?
yeah, sometimes I don't get to the minutes till just before, so I don't always have time to send another email, but and it'll probably be quicker than what you just said. On that one, I do not, but I do have something on the following.
Okay, all in favor of October 17th?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, do I have a motion to approve October 21st, 2025? Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by
So,
Councillor Abbott. Any amendments, changes?
Yeah, I've got a question on page 12, point E. This is about the regional context statement. The statement reads, we will, just talking about the 2022 regional context. It says it reads, will be reviewed in the next context of the most recent but unadopted 2022. It wasn't, it's not unadopted,
You're right,
it's adopted.
this is a typo, so we can fix that.
Okay, any other substantive changes?
Okay, I thought it was it was a disadvantage. I didn't realize it was just a
Okay, any
typo.
other changes?
No, I've got one matter arising.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, business arising, any business arising from the minute?
Yeah, in line with all the recent discussions and one we're gonna have tonight as well about reporting out from open meetings, I would like to suggest that and this is on page 6. There was nothing to report out of the closed meeting from the strategy session. I would like to suggest that we can actually report those entire minutes out. Because there's nothing in there that is in any way meets the criteria to be in a closed meeting. The meeting should have been in open in the first place. And I think we can actually just report the entire minutes out. So I'd like to suggest.
Okay, we have a report coming later, which is, staff will, on a regular basis, report out from closed. Will that cover, Mr. Blackwell?
Yeah, just further to that, what council needs to do with respect to that is when council is enclosed, you have to pass a motion, establish a resolution to rise and report on the matter enclosed, and then it becomes available.
Okay.
For open.
All right. Well, we'll deal with that when we get to Kingslay's report. That's how it should be done. Thank you.
Okay, action log, item 9.1. Any items councilors would like to pull out? Council McLaughlin?
I think, less is more on this. I think that on our budget talk, we've dealt with the storage piece with the construction at the back. I think the oldest item, which is September 2023, ongoing operational for analysis of document storage options, I think that's been done. I think we can strike that.
Okay, any other items councilors would like to address?
No, I'm good for this week.
Okay,
So we'll work to get through
we'll
that.
move to the next item, which is, hang on, let me get back to the agenda.
10.1.
10.1.1, and that is the 2025 audit services plan.
If I may, you're on table
9.2
You're on table
of
item.
the draft service.
to reconsider the motion.
bylaw.
Oh, yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so the request is to bring back the reconsideration of the subdivision servicing bylaw. And Mr. Blackwell, would you like to give us any further explanation before we review that?
Thank you. Yes, you've heard it before, but in summary, the bylaw that exists now is woefully inadequate. It's in desperate need of modernization to the point where I cannot utilize at all the existing bylaw. So I've had to process a number of two subdivision applications, and I've had to make it up on the fly. So that is not improper, but it is really not a good way to do things. We need to have the standards associated with subdivision, and it's primarily about servicing, consistent. So we rely on a specific bylaw that sets out the expectations consistently every time. So that was before council for third reading. I think it was just simply a miscue with regard to the vote. My sense was that council did not intend to defeat the bylaw. It was sort of a fender bender. The options are to double down and defeat it again, or to grant it third reading. Alternatively, you can grant a third reading and you can forward it to a committee of the whole for future discussion of the engineering details if council feels so inclined. Or ask me questions.
Can
Okay, Councillor Abbott, then we'll go to Councillor Broughton.
I, on behalf of, my fellow councillors, because it wasn't my idea, I didn't bring this up initially. Is there a friendly amendment? Because what I heard, the reason it got, the term you just used got voted down kind of
Accident.
unintendedly is because the request and the intention was that we allow for some sort of public engagement first. And that's where it went awry. And I think it was Councillor Cunliffe that put it forward. I can't remember what exactly she asked for, but I'm suggesting a friendly amendment that accommodates that, if she still thinks it's appropriate to put it forward.
Mr. Blackwell.
That's certainly something the council can do. My concern would be that these are municipal engineering standards and having the public weigh in and make recommendations that perhaps we deviate from our municipal standards, we deviate from MMCD and utilize other standards is problematic. This is boilerplate engineering spec stuff. So it would be, I'm 100% behind engagement, but when it's an entirely regulatory document, it would make me a little bit nervous with respect. Even if it was a room full of engineers, I would especially make me nervous. But that aside, I'm not sure how people can sort of debate pipe sizes and suggest that certain connections be done differently or we utilize different MMC standards.
I'm not going to speculate what someone might want to ask, but I'm just saying that the suggestion was we give them the chance.
If I could speak through the chair, I think
Yes.
that it was an unintended motion to vote down the bylaw. It was more in the agenda package, it indicated that a public hearing was going to be scheduled. That was just a miscommunication and error. So I'm not set on bringing in the public to discuss what CAO has indicated is essentially, a staff issue. So I do believe that we should go to the public with any opportunity to have your say, but I'll stand down on this matter.
Okay, do we have a motion that council approve the third reading for the subdivision servicing bylaw under section 9.2 of the council?
Just a brief comment. I would make that motion. Well, could I make the
Okay, we'll
motion?
put the motion on
Speak
the
to the
table, then we
motion,
can
yeah.
speak to it. Okay,
Yeah.
moved by Councillor Broughton, seconded by
Also,
Councillor Abbott. Okay, discussion, Councillor Broughton, you had your
Yeah.
hand up.
Our municipal advisor coming up to 2.5 years ago, well, over 2 years ago now, identified that our bylaws are woefully out of date. I think anything we can do to expedite moving them forward in an effective, efficient way, I just totally support. So this is a technical one. I think we need to move quickly.
Okay, any other comments? Councillor McLaughlin?
Thank you. A quick refresher in a committee of the whole and probably make it go pretty quickly in the regular council meeting.
Okay, any other comments?
Sorry, are you suggesting we defer it to committee of the whole? Is that what you're asking? It's not what's on the table at the moment. Before we defeat something inadvertently again, let's make sure we've got things dialed in.
Suggestion, not again.
Okay, did you want to amend that motion?
That we come to the committee of the whole first.
Yes, I would prefer that this one to committee of the whole
Yeah,
first.
Mr. Blackwell.
I believe this already has been, but my suggestion is that don't just arbitrarily send things to committee of the whole because it's time wasting. If you wanted to go to committee of the whole, I would ask that you be specific with regard to what you are hoping to achieve. So in other words, that it be referred to the committee of the whole in order to discuss the technical engineering standards, to debate the MMCD standards, and be clear, because otherwise it just goes there. Council looks at each other nothing to say about the engineering standards, and we've wasted another period of time, so it's good to have a mission associated with that is.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin.
Okay, I see the rationale from the CAO. So if we were to, supposedly we go to the third reading, it'll come to fourth at the next council meeting, so we would see the documentation again, black line or red line changes. So, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
It's a brand new bylaw,
Okay,
so there's no red line.
Okay. so we would get one more chance to look at it.
Another go.
Yes, and you found that type of mistake that I've told you about.
I better talk to you because I can't.
Okay,
remember.
so
Let me make a note of that.
Mr. Berry, I'd be fine with that to go for the third.
Question?
Okay, all in favor?
Yes,
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item is 10.2, and that is the clarification formalize the governance principles of the council meetings, should always supersede the advisory
10.1.1.
committee meetings, in
10.1.
priority. Motions on the table that council affirm that council meetings and council business take precedent over advisory committee meetings and activities at all times, and that this principle be incorporated into advisory committee terms and reference, meeting schedule practices, ensuring that the advisory bodies operate in a supportive role under the direction of council, not as a parallel governing body. Do we have a motion for that?
I think we're
Jumped ahead.
at 10.2. I think should be at 10.1.
Yeah, but,
10.1, sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
Staff audit service plan.
Yeah, we've jumped ahead, it's fine.
so what do we do? We're doing this one now or not?
Yeah, well,
This is 10.1, actually.
Sorry, if I could assist here, I believe that you intended this to
I thought it was 10.2.1.
10.2 under committees, is what I understood.
That's my understanding.
Yes, you are correct. I
But,
jumped ahead,
in the
sorry.
spirit of, the mayor having shot his bolt, I'm happy to jump forward and then jump back.
That is, any issues with that? No, okay,
You don't hear it a third time.
good enough.
It's your motion.
Okay, do we have a motion?
It's your motion, Mr. Berry, put your hand up.
I will move that. Second,
Second.
okay, Councilor McLaughlin, discussion.
I have some discussion, hopefully someone else will talk first, because we've just seen this, I'm still trying to read it, that's why I wasn't ready to put it on the agenda. Can
Okay,
you take a few minutes to read it all?
by all means,
So we're too bothered to type it?
by all means. While you're reading, maybe we can just, ask other councilors to move, any discussion forward. So any other councilors wish to address any matters? Mr. Blackwell, do you have any comments?
I'm happy to answer any questions you council have any.
Okay. Any councilors before I speak?
Okay, time to
Councillor
skim read
Abbott.
it, so I'll go. I honestly don't see why we need this. There has been one issue of council meetings taking preference over committee meetings for scheduling purposes. And there's been somewhat of a disagreement about that. I think whatever a scheduled meeting is, regardless of whose meeting is, it's just common courtesy. That gets to go first, unless we can find everyone in a time that accommodates everyone. So from that point of view, but that's not what this is about. That's what I thought this was about. This seems to be about more. I don't know why this is even here. I can't think of any circumstances where committees are creating some sort of parallel government that it's alluding to here. I think committees are pretty clear what they do. They pass recommendations. The recommendations come to council. We've got several of those three of those committees in tonight's meeting. I think it's been done the appropriate way, and I honestly don't see the need for this. There's someone who can explain to me what is the concern. Sounds like we're trying to fix something that to me isn't broken.
Okay, any comments by other councilors? Okay, I put, Councilor Brown, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, well, I just think we're clarifying that the advisory committees are in fact advisory committees. And that clearly there's different feelings about how much things are baked when they come, I think, perhaps. And so I welcome this as a clarification that ultimately council, as you've heard me say in this chamber probably 3 times in the last several months, that we have the fiduciary responsibility, and that ultimately, you know, we carry the can. So I just think it's not problematic at all to really clarify that ultimately every committee sees the world from their perspective, and I really value that, and I value the passion that's demonstrated in that. But ultimately, and we're wrestling this as we go through our budget process. There are no silos in the village. There's no sacred money in the village. When at the end of the day, all the funds come from the taxpayers at one level or another. And so, and council ultimately has fiduciary responsibility. We are financially responsible. We're acting on behalf of our residents. And so there have been kind of indications at different times that council is questioning a recommendation. That is council's role to, you know, question and to ask and to look at other possibilities and to see recommendations in the total picture. So I think this is a helpful. It's not diabolical in any way. I think it's helpful to clarify.
Okay. All right, the reason I put it forward was just to reaffirm the legislative framework for best practices as suggested by the provincial advisors. And I think at times it may be perceived that we're running in parallel to the council and the governing body. And I think that we have to be careful that these are recommendations, that they're not baked, so to speak, and decisions are made in advance of the council's debate. So I think it's healthy, and that's the reason for these 2 motions that are on the table. Any other comments, Councillor McLaughlin?
Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. I think other than Councillor Abbott has said, other than recently scheduling conflicts, okay, that's a piece. But I see this as you've written it here, it's really an addendum for the terms of reference. And I think it's a good piece.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell?
Sorry, we give another copy.
Here we go.
And I fundamentally see the principle behind this resolution. Now, just on an aside to that, there is at least one committee that should be able to be attended by the public, which the location is never disclosed, and that would be the tree committee. So it's posted on the village website as per every committee meeting, but it always comes with the at the location, and that's not really ever published for members of the public to attend if they wish to do. So I think that could be some bit of housekeeping that we could work on. So this just come up based upon this resolution, but I would be in support of it.
Okay, any other comments?
Okay,
Councillor Abbott?
one final comment, the 2 motions on the table, and once again, I do not see the need for this. Council business take preference over committee meetings and activities at all times. If that is to do with scheduling, then you should say so, and if it is, I disagree with that. The second one, the lease committee as advisory, it's in every terms of reference. To me, there's some sort of suggestion here that these committees are performing outside of their bounds. I do not think they do at all. And I think that's kind of disrespectful, so I'm still against this.
Okay, any other comments?
Question?
Okay, all in favor?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
So is it both?
It's both motions in
Okay.
one. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, noted, Councillor Abbott is opposed to the 2 motions. Okay, it's carried. Carried.
Back to 10.1.1, Mayor Barry.
Okay, and that is the 2025 audit servicing plan. Mr. Cherkoff, you'll join the table. Thank you.
The audit service plan is provided for information, just a brief synopsis. The audit has already started, interim audit. We're about 90% of the way through that. We are scheduled for final procedures in March. The audit service plan indicates the fees that could be charged for the audit, which is in line with their 3-year fee structure. We haven't been overcharged for year 1 or year 2. It's all in line with the quote. And nothing really new as far as the approach or anything. There's one item for upcoming accounting standards. It's effective for us in 2027. It's just a presentation change in the way the financial statements look. It's 2 years down the road, so nothing different for you vote for this year.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Cherkoff?
Yep.
Yeah, Councillor Abbott.
So just on page, key deliverables, page 21. So the first one is the deliverable presenting tonight. I understand that. Interim procedures, October 27th to October 29th, happened already. Could you explain what those were?
Oh, so they test basically our documentation of our internal processes. They test revenues expenses to September 30th, just to get half, like 3/4 of the year out of the way.
Okay, so it's happened. And then I'll draw council's attention to the second from last key milestone, which says presentation of the management letter to mayor and council. As opposed to, we've been told it's the staff's management letter. That's what it says.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
So I don't know what that is. The one, that management letter I received is addressed to me. I believe council has received that from Mr. Cherkoff. You'll notice that it's addressed to me, so I can't explain why that statement exists.
There's only one mention of management letter that reads presentation of management letter to mayor and council, May 2026.
Not sure.
Wait. I look forward to receiving it.
Okay, any other questions? No decision needed on this?
No,
Okay. Next item, 10.1.2, Christmas holiday closure. The recommendation is a motion for that council endorse the 2025 municipal office Christmas closure for December 22nd to the 24th, 2025, December 29th to the 31st, 2025, and January 2nd, 2026, with the office resuming regular operations on Monday, January 5th, 2026. Do we have a motion for that?
That's correct.
Sorry.
So
Okay, moved by Councillor Broughton, seconded
Yeah, I'll second this.
by Councillor Abbott. Okay, discussion. Yeah, Councillor Broughton, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Councillor Abbott.
yeah, I noticed that last year it was seven working days. This year is 7, and that's kind of an anomaly in terms of just, it's a calendar anomaly. I think it's an operational, it was explained last year, as an operational, organizational sort of matter. I guess in light, last year on December 14th, we had a tragedy in the community. And then I don't know how much that impacted, how much there was preparation for something as extraordinary as that. I'm not saying that this could happen. Well, it certainly could happen again, but what is the fallback position in terms of if all the staff is gone during it, and there's I've read different things about sort of preparation for that, but I guess, as I said, it was a fairly extraordinary event. And then we were looking to staff a emergency operations center, which would typically happen, with our existing staff, and they were off. So how do we, are people called back? What happens there?
Mr. Blackwell?
Thank you, through you to Councilor Broughton. Depends on the situation.
Yeah.
What I can say is that the works yard staff remain on call.
Yeah.
During that period, senior staff, which is myself, Joe, and Carl, remain, we're 7 days a week.
24/7.
Yeah, and so to the extent that we can or we're capable of responding to most things, we will be doing so. If God forbid anything severe happens, we would follow the same process as last year, where we would engage the regional district, Metro Vancouver, to assist, but I don't even want to contemplate anything like that happening. Rest assured that it's covered, but I don't want to even entertain the notion of it.
I mean, it's an extraordinary circumstance you deal with each circumstance, but I want to make mention of it because it's something that I hadn't contemplated until last year. The perception was it looked like a time when we would really need people there, and they're just about to leave. So,
Councilor Abbott?
I've got a few things, but I just want to touch on this point first because it wasn't one of my notes. I also said workshop staff remain on call, so they get an extra day's paid vacation. But at any one time, only one person's on standby. Right?
Mr. Blackwell?
So in effect, if there was a need to call everyone in, you'd only have one person on standby. So would they all get the additional day plus overtime day? All of them.
Mr. Blackwell?
Thank you. So those that are called in would get the contractual hours as set out in the QP agreement. Depending on the event, some of that can be clawed back through the MCR.
So let's just be clear on my question. If we didn't pass this, there'd be a working day for them, right? Now we're saying they basically, are they still at work, except they don't have to be here? Or they're given an extra day's vacation and we call them, and now we call them to work and now they're gonna get paid again.
Thank you. No, we're not doing that. It's, the contract is fixed with regard to that. Their standby starts at a certain time and that doesn't change. So they don't get to what you could refer to as double dip, if you will, wanting, I can't think of a better term, but in essence, sort of double dipping with regard to that.
So any of the staff that give this extra 7 days, if we needed them, they would just come back to work as if they had been working all along. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. All right, so my other points in these, whatever I'm going to say has no reflection on staff. This is not emotive or personal or anything like that. And no one likes to be the Grinch, especially this time of year. But I just want us to consider the cost of these extra days, because this is now, work is not getting done on that day. So it has to be done another day. So it is an additional day off. It is extra money, this taxpayer money. These 7 days, just based on some quick math, $2 million, 50 working weeks of the year. These 7 days are going to cost taxpayers $56,000. And if you split it equally across the 13 staff members, each person's getting $4,300. Now, that's not necessarily accurate and true because there'll be bigger and smaller amounts around all of that. I think that's what council needs to keep in mind. I think this is overly generous. I understand closing the office. This happened to me in every industry I've worked in, and all the time I've been in Canada. The office gets closed on certain days, normally just between Christmas and New Year. And you take a vacation day. You don't have an option. That's sort of how it works in the corporate world. So, I think there should be some, we should make some provision for staff to take some time off at Christmas, especially if there's not a lot going on in the village. I understand that. I just don't know that we should I think it's overly generous to pay everyone an extra 7 days over and above the QP agreement, or if they exempt staff over and above what's in their contract. Because everyone does have, a decent amount of holidays already. That's my point.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor Barry. As Councillor Abbott says, my comments have no reflection on staff at all. Coming from the private sector, Christmas is, of course, a special time for many people. And certainly where I was employed for many years, more senior people would usually work through the period and allow younger people in the organization to have time with their family. It's a staffing thing. People were expected to work, they did work, or they took their personal holiday time. I really don't see a significantly different situation here.
Okay. Any other comments? Mr. Blackwell, any response?
All I can say is, the nuts and bolts are in the report. I am certainly aware of the cost implications, and I don't sort of take those lightly at all. I am aware that there has been sort of, to the extent this applies, precedent set, if you will, or a standard with respect to what council authorized last year. And that was driven primarily by the sort of calendar implications. The reality is, all we need is a few folks away in the office, and the office sort of shuts down anyway. So, does it make more sense for morale and other issues to have 3 people sitting in the office with the front door locked for a number of days, or is it better to sort of look at this more holistically and factor in other considerations? You looked at over time, it isn't 7 days. Last year and this year are anomalies. I think, based on memory, I don't have it in front of me, but the average is roughly around 4 days.
Yeah, it's around 4.
Yeah,
Three,
there's
four,
3 and 4
3,
days
4,
is
5.
the average. But this is council's decision, because it's a financial question.
Okay, any other comments? Before I call the question?
I have a question. Could we amend a couple of days here? Maybe open on the 22nd, close 23rd, open the 29th. Maybe a skeleton staff. There is utilities and such that are coming in. Shave
Okay,
it back down to that 3 to 4 days as opposed to 7.
Mr. Blackwell.
Entirely council's decision, entirely, did I say entirely? Entirely
Entirely, yeah.
council's decision. But to be clear, so I don't set up incorrect expectations. A skeleton staff means the office is closed to the public. Just to be clear, it doesn't mean that we're operating. So that's the functional reality. It's one of the challenges of managing with a small number of people. When you have a larger organization, you're able to be much more fluid around this.
Okay,
When,
yeah, Councillor Abbott, and then we'll go back to Councillor Cunliffe, whether that was an amendment to the existing motion on the table or just a suggestion. Councillor Abbott?
okay, mine might be treated either way as well. My suggested amendment is that we allow the office to be closed for the 7 days unless someone insists they want to work. But staff get compensated for the average 4 days, which I think is generous. We've got 3, 4, 5 days. It's typical. I don't know, for 66, 7 years, and then these 2 anomalies. So I just think just capping it at that number, but allowing the office be closed. If someone has no vacation, you insist on working, I guess you allow them to come to work, and they can do so behind a closed door. I'm sure there's lots of paperwork and stuff that could be caught up.
Okay, so a friendly amendment,
It's a friendly amendment, cap it at the
cap it at 4 days.
4, which looks like the
Any
average.
special wording that we should apply to that, Mr. Blackwell?
You may want to simply defeat the motion that's on the table and propose this as a new motion. Without specifying, just say that that the office be closed for 4 days over the Christmas period, and we can figure out whether the most logical for it, if that helps.
I'm suggesting the office is closed for the Christmas period.
Yes.
The staff get compensated for 4 days.
Understood, yeah.
Yeah, no, when you said closed for 4 days. No,
That's, yeah.
Let's call the question, the original question, unless there's some other comments here.
Also, how about if I speak to the next level? here?
Okay, all in favor of the motion as it stands? Okay, those opposed?
opposed.
Okay, motion defeated.
Sorry, who voted in opposed? I knew two.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you did.
I was on mute.
Only
I
two people
opposed.
voted opposed. The motion was carried.
No, I opposed. Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah,
I silently opposed.
yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
Okay, can you call it again? Because there was
Okay.
only two people
In
opposed.
favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
A motion defeated.
Okay,
Okay, new motion on the table is that the.
okay, could I, before the motion comes up, could I just look at some information here? Currently, we're closed the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th ahead of Christmas, which means that the last day of work is 19th. So December the 19th. And then, so the office is last open on December the 19th and then open again on January the 5th. So it just, the 22nd and 23rd to me seem
Work days.
to be work days. Yeah, I mean, typically you're going to be, might be sometimes half day on the 24th or, that type of thing. So I don't know how we slice it. I certainly, I really support families having as much time as possible through the Christmas period, but it just is exceptional that it's a full 7 days and that that we're closed from the, what did I say, the 18th all the way through January the 5th.
We're gonna put a motion on the table, and I think it was 4 days, was it not?
And
My suggestion was we do the calendars as shown. We cap the number of paid days, additional paid days at 4, but people don't have to come to it. They'll have to take, in this case, this year, they'll have to take an extra 3 days vacation.
I'll
But it's
second
an
that.
anomaly.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item,
Deputy Corporate Officer, did you get that motion? You're fine with it? Thanks.
okay, next item is the.
I'm just
Mr.
wondering if
Blackwell.
someone's trying to take over my role as,
Sorry?
no, because I'd be happy to give up my chair.
Yeah. All right, next item is climate action 10.2.1.1, climate action committee meeting minutes for September 4th, 2025 for information. Any questions?
Motion received.
Okay, all second, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, the item 10.2.1.2 recommendations to council for budget 2026, council 2025-022 recommendation of climate action committee for the budget recommendation is that council approve the climate action committee recommendation option 2, vehicle fuels and emissions as recommended by the climate action committee to replace both the bylaw officer, enforcement officer vehicle and the aging public works F-150 vehicle and the electric vehicles, including required charging infrastructure at the work yards, and that the additional costs over the proposed staff request for the additional gasoline vehicle and costs incurred by the replacement of the bylaw enforcement officer F-150 with a small electric vehicle to be drawn from the local government climate action program fund, and that the council directs staff to take necessary measures to ensure all future diesel purchase is R100, including necessary documentation to confirm the local government climate action program reporting. Do we have a motion for that? Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, seconded by Councilor Abbott. Discussion, Mr. Blackwell has his hand up. We'll take comments before we go to council. Mr. Blackwell.
You may wish to request a staff report on this, some of the information I've discovered. For example, that council will not know in making this decision, a new battery for an F-150 is $60,000. So you may want to have a report to go together with this, so you have a full and complete picture and then make a decision based on that.
Okay, do we have a motion to defer this to staff or refer it to staff for further comments?
Full staff report.
for staff report.
For staff report,
Yeah,
yeah.
do we have a motion for that? Moved by Council Broughton,
Moved by-
seconded by,
speak-
do we have a
speak to that.
seconder for that?
I'll second it to.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Abbott, and we'll go to the councillors, Councillor Abbott.
Okay, I just want to speak to this revised motion, so I want to speak to, right? About a staff report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staff report.
Not-
Yeah,
not-
we're
Could I
speaking
speak,
to the
could I
staff
speak to that
report.
as the move route of the,
Yeah.
of the motion, and just
Okay.
like to speak to why I made the motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not aware of the possibilities for whether an F-150 electric truck with the car. I'm completely supportive of the bylaw vehicle. There's some confusion about whether the vehicle was high profile, that the truck had more profile because it was bigger or something, and I think that was confused. The profile that we're seeking with the vehicle is that it's well identified, because in the past,
Sorry,
some of the vehicles have.
So on a
not
point of
been
order,
identified.
sorry. On a point of
Yes.
order. We're trying, well, I think we got clarity, we are now only speaking to the suggestion we need an additional staff report. We're not speaking to the motion, right?
Yes,
Okay,
okay, so.
Okay, so the
Yes,
the
I'm
speaker
clear-
is
clear on
speaking
that.
to the,
I'm clear on
the
that.
motion.
Okay, so okay, pardon me. So the bylaw vehicle, one item, the issue that I have, which I require more information from and require the staff report about, is the F-150s and the effectiveness of them in the role that they have, and also the longevity and the experience of other municipalities with this. So for that reason, I support having more information from a staff
Okay.
report.
Any other comments from the councillors? Councillor Abbott.
so on that point, the council want more information, staff, I guess, that's what we should get. West Vancouver do have F-150s, so I think there's EVs. So I think there's plenty evidence out there, becoming more and more common in construction companies. Personally, I don't feel we need that information. I think it's anecdotally maybe apparent if you just look at what everyone else is doing. These vehicles are becoming more and more common all the time. And I'll remind staff that, I'll remind everyone that going back to the previous, now I'm speaking to the actual motion, I agree. So I was going to remind staff that previously we agreed that the next workshop vehicle would be an electric vehicle, but that's maybe for the main motion discussion. If you want to just decide whether you need to defer this to another meeting to get a staff report, I think you should call the question on that. I personally don't think that's necessary.
Okay, I'll just comment, staff is suggesting that they have an opportunity to provide feedback to council, so I would heed that advice, as staff feel strongly about that. So I would defer this motion. Councillor Broughton, before we call the question.
Could I request that would they be able to bring that information back to the next meeting? Because I think it's becoming time sensitive in terms of the replacement of the F-150 and so on.
Yeah.
Mayor Barry, I concur. The next CAC meeting is the 25th.
Mhm.
Our next council meeting is the 19th. Yes, the 19th. So I think it'll be appropriate. I think the CAC has already done a lot of this work, so I get where Councillor Abbott's coming from, but I think if there's something that staff should come to, we should all have the most information we can.
Okay, Councillor Abbott, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm fine. If people want more information, let's defer till then.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Deferring?
Sorry, are we asking that it be deferred to the next meeting?
Yeah,
staff
does the
Come
report.
back
Staff
to the
come
next
back at the
council.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Before we do that, could we maybe clean up the R100? Can we split that out? Because
Oh, yeah,
that doesn't require an additional
Third
staff.
item.
right, yeah,
So there's three parts to that motion.
yes.
That's fine, but we'll come back to that. So we'll split that out. We'll remove third item. We can. Okay, all in favor of deferring to
The
staff? the first
information on
two-
the electric vehicles,
Yeah.
yes.
On the
First
F-150
two
portion. only.
motions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
opposed, motion carried. Okay, And then motion on the table is
No, I
staff
wasn't-
correct?
I wasn't opposed, or maybe I was slow.
No, I thought you were going to the third part of this.
Yeah. Next motion on the table, council direct staff to take necessary measures to ensure all future diesel purchase in the R100, including necessary documentation to confirm for local government climate action program reporting. Do we have a motion for that?
Pretty sure Carl said this already.
Carl, it is.
Carl has a
John's
family,
just left.
he's a family emergency. So I don't know if that's, you know, I mean, it's fine if it's on the books, but just a bit more information. I seem to think Carl has made it very clear, unless I've misunderstood, that we all like to do
So
it.
there has, up until now, there has been an issue. And the issue is that our supplier does not have, our supplier only seems to supply this fuel in the summer. It hasn't got a winter blend. From the Climate Action Committee, where people that are in this industry, they pointed out that Suncor and what did I put down here? Who was it? Suncor and someone else?
Someone else, yeah.
Petrochem, was it? Suncor and Petrochem both supply R100s available year round. And for example, City of Vancouver uses.
Okay, so it's not gonna harm anything if we move motion. Okay, do we have a mover on this motion?
I'll put it forward.
Okay, move Councilor Abbott, second by Councilor McLaughlin, all in favor?
Question,
All in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Okay, we'll move to the infrastructure committee, and the minutes for June 10th, 2025. For information, do we have?
move
any
receipt,
comments?
well, we don't have to
Okay,
move receipt, right, received.
If I may,
Yeah.
Councilor Abbott's on table.
These are,
Oh, you were gonna bring it up. You wanted a reminder.
yes, so we currently, now we do,
10.2.4.
oh, you're right,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's-
we didn't do this. Thank you. Good catch.
We've got that as 10.3.
It was, sorry, through the chair,
Yeah.
it was going to be
It was
discussed.
gonna be brought up
in
under the same topic,
context of the minutes that were provided with information
Okay,
from the
Yeah.
climate action.
and we get inspired. Okay,
all right, go ahead.
so, okay, so I'll introduce this. You would notice in the minutes, there was a mention about the changes the DFO will be making to the rockfish conservation areas and the blackfish sponge areas around Lions Bay. This came up at the House on Forum, and I joined this working group, and I brought it to the Climate Action Committee, and John Robb, I think is known to everyone here, is very involved in those circles. He's also a member of the Climate Action Committee. He said he was going to go take it further. He knows Andrew Taylor, so they're known to each other. And we didn't realize there was a timeline. And then last night I received an email which told me that we had until the 14th of November. And that will mean we won't be able to bring this to a council meeting. So on the fly, my two asks are that Councillor Green, I don't know if we need a resolution for this because we'll take some advice. The council agree that John Robb can discuss this and other matters with the Marine Stewardship Institute, Marine Planning Circle, should they call themselves, MSI MPC. And this is a group based on Bowen Island. They're in the south, various parts of the south. And then that was the one action, and then specifically that John asked for either an extension from DFO or send back to council his any concerns he may have about this letter, and if there are none, that we sign this letter. Now, the issue with the one point on the letter that needs clarification, that both the MSI MPC have pointed out, as well as when I discussed it with John, who's been diving in the area, he completely agreed. The problematic is DFO have decided to take an arbitrary line directly north, well, directly east, should I say, from the sponge outcrop to where it intersects the beach, and that's the end of the conservation area. The problem is, as they've shown on their map, it intersects right through the middle of Kelvin Grove Beach. So there's no obvious landmark that tells you where it is. So you can't have a restriction that you can't manage your police. Someone will just say, oh, I'm standing on this side of the line because the line isn't there. There are some obvious places to do it, and because John's explained it to me, when you're diving down there's like a wall. There's lots of rock cod, and it terminates around where the cliff jumping happens. And the suggestion is just beyond the cliff jumping, there's a sort of outcrop, and that's the spot that it should terminate in. So this is basically, other than the other language of our supportive language in this, this is the one item that we want to inform DFO of that we feel needs revised. So that's the whole background, and unfortunately the timing has kind of jumped up on top of us. What we need to do for motions or resolutions there, I'll take under advisement, and we hear from others.
Okay, I've had the pleasure of diving with John Robb, so I would be in favor of him looking into it deeper and reporting back to council.
Sorry, the
As
deeper.
a fun.
Swimming.
Reviewing this, swimming deeper into this.
Feeling kind of deflated.
Yeah, he's got a tremendous amount of experience, obviously, so anything that he could provide would be helpful.
And sorry, just one clarity, and you can explain, and if need be, are we comfortable that council or the mayor can sign this on behalf of council? If John doesn't, if there's no other red flags, we don't need to come back to another council meeting, or do we have to call a special meeting before the 14th?
Yeah, that's Blackwell.
To keep it clean, my recommendation is that council appoint a member of council to take the lead on executing this document in a manner they see fit.
Okay, I'll put myself forward for that because I'm the deputy mayor as well. In this term, okay. I'm happy to take on that role if council want me to.
Yeah, Councillor Brown.
I think I need to put a bit more information to, I totally support John Robb finding out more information. The sole source of information should not be someone who's contacted us, an organization has contacted us. I don't, it's fully support all the various organizations, but this is one organization. We have Lions Bay has the foreshore rights for 1,000 feet in front of our village. And I would like to make sure that DFO is very clear about any concerns that we may have, and I've attended a number of meetings with DFO and around this matter, and I just think we need to request an extension of time to respond to them. And I think we need to understand better before I'm prepared to speak on behalf of the village. I think we need to really understand what in fact the implications are. This is an area being declared in front of residential properties, in front of our beach park, in front of we have a marina here, we have 3 different beaches, we have a whole setting that we need to understand what the implications might be, and the DFO's inability to clearly define the regions up until now don't lead me to feel really confident about and the matter that they've taken an arbitrary line, showed up partway through one of our beaches. I'm a bit cautious about giving carte blanche of support, but I would totally want to become as informed as we possibly can as a council before we speak for the village. And I think John Robb is a brilliant choice to seek that information, but from multiple sources.
Sure. Okay, I second that. I definitely would like to get further information, would love to have John Robb's feedback. Not prepared to, enlist Counselor Abbott to spearhead this, and I think that, my previous, concern about committees and, making decisions, outside of council, stands, so I'd like this to come back to council to have further discussion. It's an important matter here, and as Councillor Broughton has pointed out, there's beaches and a marina that are subjected to this, so yes, I believe more information is needed. Any other comments, Councillor Abbott?
Just final wrap up comment, partly what I'm hearing in the room. And so I think all the information that you could possibly want was received in the emails you got earlier, what is here tonight. And if you click through the links, there's lots of information. I think it's all there. This has been worked on for quite a while. Fortunately, we just became aware of it kind of last minute. So what I'm hearing is everyone's comfortable with John Robb being the choice to lead us in this. His action, and if he needs me to support him just in this action, his action should be to ask for an extension. And if we cannot get an extension, then we have a special council meeting, one topic prior to the 14th. Is that what I'm hearing?
Councillor Broughton?
I would like John to inform this, but I'm a bit uncomfortable with asking him to seek an extension of a deadline. I think that's an administrative matter. So I would see that as a request of staff to request an extension on that.
Not probably a fair point.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell?
Should council be so minded, then it's a simple resolution that staff be directed to X, Y, Z.
Seek
Okay.
that.
So
Seek
okay,
an
I'll put forward a
extension.
motion that staff be directed to seek an extension from the DFO in the matter of, the rock cod conservation area.
Okay.
Sure.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
I have a
can-
seconder for that motion.
Do I second it?
Moved by Councillor
Moved
Broughton.
by me.
Okay, Councillor Abbott, second by Councillor Broughton.
Thank you.
Okay, so what do we need to do in the event that the extension is not granted? What is our game plan? Then, are we gonna have another special meeting before the 14th? I don't think we can let this go by without us putting
Without
forward our
responding.
opinion. Without responding.
Without putting
We
something.
need
forward.
more, well, correct me if I'm wrong, we need more information, we can call a special meeting, as has been the case in the past, there's been many special meetings.
We have multiple meetings between now and the 14th, so we could set aside a 10-minute.
Okay, so we're in
Time span.
agreement, we'll
We will
bring this up
address
at another
this-
meeting
we'll
prior to the
address this
14th.
if it's not, if there's no extension granted. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, Mr. Blackwell?
To be the devil's advocate, this is a federal ministry, the chance of a timely response would be like winning the
Not
lottery. So I think you should,
okay, from that easy.
I would 100% tell you that you expect them to respond within a week, it's possible. But that would be the first time I've ever seen this.
Okay.
Response.
But you'll launch the missile tomorrow.
With your assistance.
Okay, with that, we'll move to the infrastructure committee meeting minutes, June 10th for information. Any questions? Oh, we'll receive that for information. Item 10.2.2.2, recommendations to council for the budget 2026, council 2025-21, recommendations by the infrastructure committee. Recommendation that council approve the infrastructure committee recommendation 8.B PH adjustment as recommended in the form or in the typo, I think in the form of the infrastructure committee meeting of September 30th, 2025, and that council approve the infrastructure committee recommendations 8.D SCADA as recommended from the infrastructure committee meeting of September 30th, 2025, and that council approved the inclusion of the $20,000 for the updated the 2 report from 2005. Do we have a motion for that?
Do we need to do them separately? I can put the motion forward, but do we need to do them separately?
We can attend to the first, okay, a motion for the first item. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll put it forward.
Okay, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin, moved by Councillor Abbott. Discussion. Councillor Broughton?
Yes, I'm concerned about incrementally voting piecemeal on items that are before us in the budget. And I would ask, I would expect that I think we should receive this, but I don't believe that we should be locking in anything. I totally support these. However, I think we need to look at the big picture. As I said earlier on, I think there's no silos here. We need to look at the whole package. I don't see locking it in this council meeting. I see it as part of the overall discussion. We're clear that the recommendations are coming forward from the infrastructure committee for our consideration. So I think they need to fit into the bigger package.
Okay, Mr. Blackley, you had your hand up.
Just in an effort to assist council, if council decides to go down this road, it's just a minor word change. It's just that you refer, et cetera, to the budget.
To the budget.
Discussion.
Yeah, okay.
So it doesn't materially change, just clarify that you refer, if that's where council wants to go. I don't know if
Sure.
it's helpful,
Yeah.
but.
Okay, I'll just build on what Councillor Broughton said. I think this speaks to the earlier motion that council needs to debate this as a consideration as part of the budget as a whole, as opposed to being the decisions coming from committee, moving prior to having all the information. So I would support referring this to staff and this to be part of a larger discussion to the budget. Any other comments? Councillor McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mayor Barry. To be fair, a committee can only recommend, and that's what they're doing.
Fair enough. Okay, Councillor Abbott, you had your hand up.
I was gonna say the same thing, being told committee gets to recommend to council,
It's not the
quarter past 8, regular council meetings, the time to, maybe we can deal with this. It's gonna go to the budget and the committee of the whole and go around. I think this is the time to put a couple of things behind us and speak them out. This is a good time to debate it. And it was a pretty empty agenda tonight without these items, so why would we not get to this?
Okay, just to build on that, again, I would refer to the larger discussion with the remainder of the budget items. And once again, this is, I think, premature and requires to be looked at holistically with the entire budget. So I would support referring this to staff and getting their feedback on how this fits. Councillor
Sorry, could I clarify, are we referring it to staff or are we referring it to the budget discussion?
I think staff could probably, if I may,
And
Mr.
staff
Barry,
with input.
Mayor, staff could have their input. I mean, we're on Thursday. I'm sure you're gonna have something to say about Thursday.
Okay. All in favor of referring this to staff or to the budget?
Sure.
Okay, opposed,
Yeah.
motion carried.
Okay.
Okay, with that, we'll move to Emergency Program Committee draft minutes from October 1st meeting for information. Any questions, comments?
I was gonna put forward a resolution, based on, these minutes about the appointment of Councillor McLaughlin as the second, council member. Put that forward now, I think I read it out earlier. Or voiced it earlier. Shouldn't use it out.
I do.
Okay.
If I may, through the chair, just
Yeah.
a small housekeeping detail. Normally, I wouldn't include draft minutes from the committee. However, since the emergency committee meets so infrequently, and it was important to have all this information, I included them here today.
Thank you.
That
Okay,
makes sense.
thank you. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Councillor Broughton. Discussion. Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, could I raise a personal concern, or not concern, personal comment? I'd like to ask council to whether we pass a resolution or just note a very sincere thank you to Mary for organizing the drum workshop. And through the auspices of the emergency program committee. So we had 2 3.5 hour sessions. So last week and the week before, and it was really quite extraordinary. So I just would like to put my hands up to Mary.
Okay, and I'll second that. I'm sure Councillor McLaughlin, who was also in attendance, and Councillor Cunliffe.
I echo those sentiments. It was very meaningful and yes, well done.
Finally, I would like to say, unfortunately, I had said I was going to attend, and the last minute I had to go do a business trip. So that's unfortunate. I would like to have been in attendance as well.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you on behalf of Mayor and Council. I am on the ESS, WhatsApp and other correspondence with them. I'll express council's views later this evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. All right, with that, we'll move to the ombudsperson recommendations for closed meeting. The motion is that staff conduct a 30-day rolling review of the closed session minutes and reports and bring forward items for public release with redactions where lawful. And that report is on page 79. That was put forward, and I'll just scroll to 79. And the recommendation, what this does is aligns its closed meeting practices with the community charter, procedure bylaws, and the BC Ombudsperson's best practice guide. And updated guide cautions local government bodies to avoid regular scheduled closed meetings. Instead, it is preferable to close part of a regular meeting only when the subject matter falls under specific exemptions. This directly addresses the pattern of having in-camera segments at every meeting. And I think if you have not read the report, but it focuses in on best practices of the White Rock, City of White Rock in their meetings, also the City of Vancouver and the City of Nanaimo. So one of the key considerations is the motion as proposed, and that is for staff to report out on a monthly basis of items which are considered to be reportable and not contravening any legal limitations. So, Mr. Blackwell.
Just a little point of clarification. Staff can't report out on that, but staff can bring recommendations forward to council for council's consideration to rise and report, just for clarity.
Okay, how would this, because the recommendation is that staff conduct a 30-day rolling review of closed session minutes and reports and bring forward items for public release with redactions where lawful. And I think the intention on this is that if staff recommends that something be reported out, that would be reported. How do we avoid staff recommending something be reported out and council then vote against reporting out, and those items never see the daylight, when in fact the best practices are to report out on a regular basis?
On a point of order, could the rest of us talk first before the two of you?
Sorry, that's a report, and I allow you, when it's an infrastructure or a committee, a CAC meeting, I allow you the time to speak to the report. I'm speaking to the report, and now I'm asking Mr. Blackwell to clarify a point. Okay, so please let me finish. Okay, so the intention of the report is to live up to the Ombudsman's recommendations. And that is so that we can have items that are locked in, closed, reported out. And if staff sees that the closed items are lawful, that they can be reported out, how do we achieve that? Because what we're currently experiencing is that if you're telling me if council votes 3-2 to not report out, those items don't come out of closed. So how do we have items that should be regularly reported out? Because we see the best practices from White Rock, the City of Vancouver, and others that are following these best practices of the Ombudsperson. How do we live up to those best practices?
Thank you. this is not an answer you're gonna wanna hear, so, by the sounds of it. So as I mentioned earlier, staff can certainly identify matters it feels are suitable to be, made public. In other words, if it's a legal matter, legal issue has now passed and there's been no further implications, that sort of thing can be released, or if it's a personnel issue, et cetera, et cetera. So we can bring those, that's what this resolution speaks to, is not that staff will release it, but staff will identify it and bring it forward to council for its consideration. That's where staff's role ends, is to identify and bring it forward. It's entirely council's prerogative to decide what it chooses to do. It can follow staff advice, it has the prerogative to ignore staff advice. There are no guardrails with regard to that. It's solely up to council and the will of council.
Now, would we need to craft this differently then to, in the spirit of either staff saying that there's an item enclosed that should be reported out? Or do we have to defer that to legal counsel to have an item if they say this item should see the daylight, should be reported out? How can we then get a commitment from council to report these items that seem to be locked and closed and perpetually locked and closed?
So you can't force council. It's council's decision. The only sort of cheat code that council could consider, which I don't know that I would recommend as an off-the-cuff resolution. It's a little bit sort of shooting from the hip, and there are implications, and that could be pass a resolution or pass a motion, I should say, to that council will follow the advice of staff on every occasion with regard to rise and report. I would not recommend that, but that would be the only way you could do it. Beyond that, it's solely up to council as to whether or not council is so.
Okay, Councillor Abbott, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I'll just speak to that last point. I crafting a resolution that helps you work around the community, John, not a good idea. Yeah, I think you probably trying to get those words back yourself. I just want to make a couple of points. First of all, should I say, this, what's referred to here as the Ombuds Best Practice Report is actually a draft, right? It has not been, it's still in the draft, it has not actually been executed yet. And I think that's important to understand. We're not following their recommendations. They haven't made one yet, still a draft. That's my first point. Secondly, most importantly, as demonstrated earlier this evening, I suggested that we could move some minutes into the open, and we were told you have to go into a meeting and decide as council to rise and report. That's the way it's meant to happen, and I think it's the only way it can happen. So, you know, the way this is written, I would absolutely need to vote against it. I don't think meets the intent of the community charter, or for that matter, the ombudsperson's draft. I also point out we've listed 3 municipalities here that do something along these lines, and I think we should find what we are comfortable with and how we can do more reporting out. I'm absolutely in favor of more reporting out, and we should, as a minimum, get back to the practice of every meeting of discussing at the end of the meeting what we're going to report out, and if the answer is no, we're going to say we should be able to say we cannot release any information on this subject matter. We used to do something like that on the previous council, which at least there was a, sorry, we can't tell you anything report, which is better than nothing, at least tells people what's going on. And sometimes I understand you couldn't name subject matter, but often you do. So yeah, I'm not in favor of this the way it's written. I am absolutely in favor of us doing more reporting out and finding our best practice to get this done.
Okay, any other comments? Councillor Broughton?
Yeah, I'm a bit uncomfortable with the term, what we're comfortable with as a council. We're talking about a community charter which has very specific requirements. And if majority of council feels they're meeting those requirements, then that's where items stay in closed. If in fact council is not meeting those requirements, I'm not sure what the options are. Is it to refer a matter for review by the ombudsperson? Is it to refer it to our legal counsel? Is it to refer it to the ministry? If we feel that there's been a repeated pattern of items that should be brought out of closed or not being brought out of closed, I mean, how is that addressed? I mean, right now, we're looking at a motion that's saying we'll follow the ombudsman's report. If it's in draft, well, why is it in draft? It's in process, but there's an issue that's being addressed. There's a spirit that should be followed in this. And I'll point out at the UBCM, two significant meetings, the first two meetings that I attended at the UBCM, identified this as a significant issue in many councils. And I've identified that in my report to council. Subsequent to this, I've attempted to raise the issue of possible liability issues, and have had those items removed from the agenda. So I'm just looking for ways to ensure that the actual laws are followed.
Okay, Councilor
If-
McLaughlin?
And if I may speak after Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, Councilor Connell, if you'll go after Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you
Thank
very much, Mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. Mayor Barry, I appreciate the spirit of what you're trying to do. But there are 161 municipalities in British Columbia comprised of cities, districts, towns, and villages. Only 3 of this number, or less than 2% doing this, tells me that overwhelmingly other municipalities do not consider this opportunity worth enacting. That's a blunt fact. The second piece is that not to disregard the value of staff time. The second point is that tying ourselves to ongoing additional legal fees to support this legislation is likely to occur. I know as a final point, clarity and transparency are important to this council. I find clarifying public misinformation with respect to closed meetings is extremely important. And I think as an example, I cite recent repeated social media commentary that items being removed from the agenda are being carried forward into the closed sessions. I've seen it many times on social media. Mr. Blackwell, could you confirm this is simply not the case?
Where has that been?
Sorry, you're citing social media, and you're gonna have to give us a little bit more detail.
That I just gave you the details
No,
that,
sorry, I'm not following social media. What other details are
that
there?
we're talking about transparency and openness here.
Right.
And I've said that
You also cited the ombudsperson, and there is only one ombudsperson, as I understand, unless there's more than one organization. So they've cited best practices, and the top 3 organizations of Vancouver, City of Vancouver, City of White Rock, and I forget the third.
so this would be
NIMO.
this is your turn to speak now?
I'm just asking you to clarify. You're throwing
mentioned,
statistics out,
I did throw a specific out.
and I don't think the stats were correct. So I guess, point of order. I don't think that's correct on saying that it's only 2%. I think they've cited the best practices. But Mr. Blackwell, did you have some comments?
I asked Mr. Blackwell a question.
Can you repeat your question? Sorry.
Would you confirm that items that are being removed from the agendas, as has been the case recently, are not being moved in camera?
I would confirm that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Not for me.
Okay, I'll comment. Your statistics in reference to the, sorry, Councillor Cunliffe, you did have your hand up. You're online.
Yes, thank you. I'll just speak to a recent workshop that the CAO put together for the newly re-elected council with Reese Harding, and his position was as the first ethics commissioner appointed to the city of Surrey in the province of British Columbia, is he is not in favor of closed council meetings when at all avoidable, because it is the burden of all members of council to carry that information in perpetuity in confidentiality. So I feel very confident that as a council, we are releasing all pertinent information to the public as we can. And I think we need to carry forward doing that. What I'm not in favor of is staff time being used and legal costs potentially to go over things that we close council meetings for a reason. We release information when pertinent, and I think that's the best practice. I believe that is what we have been doing, and therefore I'm in the spirit of this in favor. I just don't want to see extra cost incurred to the residents on in this way.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments from councilors? Okay, I'll just, one final comment. I put forward this report because I'm concerned about the information that's being discussed in.
Sorry,
closed.
Ken, on point of order, could you call the question? You spoke
No,
four
I-
times, five times.
I'm speaking for the second time.
You've
Okay,
spoken.
I'm
at least
speaking,
10.
sorry, I'm the chair. If you'll please respect my opportunity to speak, I allow you to speak on a regular basis, and I have to remind you many times about the time limit. So I'll just say that this was my report. I put it forward because I have a deep concern of the information that's being put into closed, not coming out into open, not open and transparent disclosure. We have many items. I can cite items that have been disclosed in our budget and expenditures and such that have not been daylighted. But we're looking at a ombudsperson who is making suggestions, best practices. Councillor McLaughlin said it's only 2%. Ombudsperson is putting forward his best practices. He cited 3 municipalities that are at the top of the list, and I would like to see if we can achieve those superior reporting and transparency. So that is the spirit of this. So I'll call the question. The question is that staff conduct a 30-day rolling review of closed minutes and reports and bring forward items for public release with redactions where lawful. Once confidentiality is no longer required, mirroring White Rock and Vancouver practices. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay,
Opposed.
please record that. We have Councillor Broughton, Mayor Barry in favor. Opposed, Councillor McLaughlin, Councillor Abbott, Councillor Cunliffe.
I actually did not have a member and seconder for this.
Okay, I moved it as the report, seconded by Councillor Broughton. Okay, I'll get back to the agenda.
Now, section correspondence 13.
Okay, correspondence. Councillor McLaughlin, or did it?
I'd be happy to hand that to Councillor Abbott.
Okay,
Thank you
Councillor
for-
Abbott, any items?
Thank you for that, Paul. A few. I'll just go in a very short list. I'll just go quickly. The first one, the Go Bye Bye BC Society. It seems like a great idea, and other municipalities involved. I'm not sure it's really a good fit for us, but if anyone reading this knows of a member of the village that wants to kind of join this, I think as a council we would support them. I would, but I'm not sure it's really suited for our community given the remoteness. So I'll leave it at that. The email from MLA Jeremy Verriet, which is based on the meeting that we had at the UBCM, and there's a letter attached and a request that we support this. I completely believe we should support this. I think we should have a more full discussion. If it needs to be another council meeting, we can do it then. If people want to first make themselves more familiar with the issue, but there certainly needs to come back and be discussed. I would also like to see the letter that Jeremy sent inviting us to, that the mayor has shared with Councillor Broughton, but still for some reason will not show the rest of us.
Okay,
So
point
I'd
of
like to see
order,
that.
that letter is addressed to the mayor. And you many times made it clear that you want to read all my correspondence. And I've told you outright, and I'll say this again, that the emails addressed to the mayor are the mayor's emails. I'm not going to disclose every item that is sent to me, just as you're interfering with staff's operations is also a problem. So
Sorry, well, I don't know what you're talking about now, please.
not prepared to open up my emails to you. If there is a staff or a council resolution where Councilor Abbott gets to read all of the mayor's emails, then that's a different matter. But right now, I think that request is above and beyond micromanaging, and I'm not in favor of it.
This is a simple request,
Councilor Abbott, back to you.
simple request on one particular email that the MLA said
We've
he
discussed
invited
this, and
us.
you're intending to waste more of my time and others' times, and I've asked you to focus on the business of the community. So I'll
I
ask
will
you
re-
once again.
I will remind you, you are one member of a council. Yes, you are the head and supposed to be the voice of us. If a MLA asks us to attend the meeting, that information should be passed on to us. And I don't know why you would keep it only to two of you. It's inappropriate. I'll leave it at that, and we'll move on. And maybe we'll need to get a resolution to tell the mayor to speak the will of council, which he refuses
Okay,
to do.
you've passed a resolution gagging the mayor, okay, the spokesperson for the community. You passed that in the first 6 months. Is there another resolution that you want to put on the mayor?
I'll bring it to,
Basically, you've mentioned this before, and I've said to you that you need to run for the mayor's position next time if you'd like to be the mayor and speak for the community.
is that a put up or shut up challenge?
It's basically
Careful what
step
you wish-
forward, and your requests.
Be
on
careful
the
what you,
often-
I'm gonna move on.
Your requests often are
Can we move
wasting
on?
our time. Let's focus on the business of the community.
Can we move on?
Mayor Barry, may I suggest we pass correspondence and go to the end of the meeting?
No, I would like to finish correspondence.
Well,
It's
the
not long.
correspondence, I'll just remind council too. The way that we've handled correspondence, we've agreed to handle correspondence is that when council members have a question on a correspondence, we pull that and we address it. Not to go letter by letter, which then has in the past dragged on for extensive times and we run out of time to do community business. So I'd ask you to focus on the business of the community and ask the rest of council, is there something in correspondence they would like to pull out?
I will just comment on two other things in correspondence.
Could I?
And I will bring this,
Could
I
I
will
stick
bring this
that
matter to the
around?
next meeting.
Balroggy letter? Yeah, I note that, he's asking everyone to be, all council members to be actively involved in this. And that there will be a Zoom meeting on November 26th, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should all join that. I think it's a very important issue.
Absolutely. Okay, two other bits of correspondence, which are Councillor McLaughlin's responses. I won't go through those, everyone's seen them. There was a comment from Norma Rogers about the infrastructure budget. I don't need to talk to that. About supporting the infrastructure levy that will be discussed in the future budget meeting. The next three, two from members of the Bird Friendly and one from Norma Rogers, are requests that these items be incorporated in our building bylaw. Now, I will tell everyone that all three of these items are in other municipalities' building bylaws. And I can bring the examples if we need them.
Okay, can I ask staff
And
to weigh in
I'm-
on that? I'd
Sorry,
just like staff to weigh in on the letters and suggesting on the building bylaws. What are your thoughts on that?
I have not seen the letters, I don't know what's in the letters.
Mayor Barry, on behalf of the
All right.
CAO, these are pretty simple things like bird glass, wires instead of straight glass, different textures on sides of buildings and things like that. It's something that is worthy of seeing when we talk about this. And I'm sure you would agree.
My suggestion that these come to the discussion of the building bylaw.
Anything else?
It'd be good if I
Councillor
saw
Abbott?
those, so they could forward that to me for.
We leave the correspondence.
Crystal's got them.
They're attached to the agenda, they're part of the correspondence.
Okay, I understand the CAO is busy. Let's let it go.
Okay, that's all I have in correspondence. Thank you.
Okay, we'll we'll get back to the agenda.
Business. If you recess to close, you have to go back into close.
Yeah, we will. Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to, we've got public questions. We will come back for public questions later, or can we do that now?
Oh, you can do that now if.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we do the public questions? We'll come back after closed and we can wrap up. So any questions, comments? Okay, online, Crystal?
No one online.
Okay, with that, we'll recess the open portion. We'll move back into close. Do I have a motion to move into close?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Broughton, second by Councilor McLaughlin. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, Crystal, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.